Are rock stars just another version of the Greek mythology of Icarus? I can't help but thinking about, the concept of flying too close to the sun, rising too high in the air, having your wings that are made of feathers and beeswax melting and then crashing down to the ground into the sea and drowning. The story of Icarus it's a legend in Greek mythology. And essentially, Icarus and his father, Daedalus, were suspected of revealing the labyrinth's secrets and were imprisoned either in a large tower overlooking the ocean or in the labyrinth itself, depending upon the account. Now, Icarus and Daedalus escaped using wings Daedalus constructed from birds' molted feathers, threads from blankets, the leather straps from the sandals, and beeswax. Before escaping, Daedalus, the father of Icarus, warned Icarus not to fly too low, or the water would soak the feathers, and not to fly too close to the sun, or the heat would melt the wax. Icarus ignored Daedalus' instructions not to fly too close to the sun, causing the beeswax in his wings to melt. Icarus fell from the sky, plunged into the sea, and drowned. The myth gave rise to the idiom, fly too close to the sun. There's a lot to unpack there. Often, our parents are from a different generation, pre-rock and roll in my case. My father started out, and the 50s rock and roll was what, kind of spurned them on before that. But, his father before that, they hated rock and roll, and they'd tell them, that's bad, that's this, that's that. But it is often our parents, our fathers who tell us, son, be careful out there. Son, be careful what you're doing. Keep your nose clean was something that I often heard. Keep your nose clean. And I'm not even sure what exactly that means. But, the fact of the matter is this, whether it's Jimi Hendrix or, Elvis Presley or Eddie Van Halen or Randy Rhoads or any number, Kurt Cobain, any number of these, stars. And I know they still have fans today. I know people still listen to their music. They are all legends. But the reality is, men, did they fly too close to the sun? Now look at the logo for Led Zeppelin with the Icarus. There it is right there. The mythology, presented in Led Zeppelin. But did John Bonham fly too close to the sun? Essentially, when they lost John Bonham, that was the end of Led Zeppelin. And rightfully so, because without his drum sound, without his feel, without his presence, it's never been the same. I don't care if you've, Zeppelin with Jason Bonham, or the time they tried to get Tony Thompson and Phil Collins to play. It was a disaster. It was an absolute disaster. The pieces of the puzzle in a band, once one person is gone, it's never to be the same. Yes, they can plug in a replacement. Yes, they can continue on, and many bands have done it and have done it successfully. But it's still never the same. The music changes. Once the personnel changes, the music changes. But are these people are these stars flying too close to the sun? And what about the Father saying, don't fly too low because you'll drown? That is something to unpack there as well. You know, you have to elevate yourself in life. You have to stay above water, right? That's another saying that our fathers, our parents have told us, stay above water. You know, and another say, keep the wolves at bay. You know, these are all things that we're told as kids to, you know, help give us some guidance in life. And, you know, Icarus's father tried to tell him, don't fly too high. But once Icarus got out there and felt the glory of, you know, flying through the sky and thought, I am all powerful. I have escaped from the king. I have escaped from life's drudgery, and now I am soaring to the sun. And soon he started seeing feathers falling like snow, and he started feeling wax melting on his skin. And he started to realize he was falling. The wings were slowly melting off of his skin. And is that the same as a rock star who rises above the water and realizes he's now up in the clouds and he's soaring up to the sun and he thinks he's invincible and he thinks he can do anything, and he's so high he doesn't want to come down? Is this like Icarus? It's easy to feel invincible. You've got a crowd cheering you on. And sometimes whether you're sober or you're high as a kite, it doesn't matter to the audience. Sometimes they want to see that rock star, that tragic figure up there, drinking straight out of the bottle, you know, imbibing. Somebody posted the Michael Starr from Steel Panther posted a clip, and it's supposedly Eddie Van Halen leaning over the side stage and packing his beak. And you know, some have said he's adjusting something on his keyboard or in his rack or whatever. I don't know. You know, with old cameras that people had back in the day, there isn't a lot of detail. And but you know, it wouldn't surprise me if a David Lee Roth era Van Halen, you know, I guarantee you they've got refreshments on each side of the stage. And I guarantee you there's the alcohol is all there and everything is there. And, you know, for me, you know, being out on the road, you know, I got to a point where I was just drinking way too much. And, you know, I felt invincible. I heard the roar of the crowd. And you know, you can sometimes, as a sideman, you can sometimes feel that cheering, that roar of the crowd, and they may be reacting to something that you're doing. You know, I would pull out all the tricks in the book. I would play behind my back. I would play with my teeth. I would be throwing picks in the air and catching them in my mouth, and you know, doing all this stuff, you know, putting on a show. And maybe I started to realize that those cheers were for me, when in all reality, it wasn't my name on the marquee. And maybe I was flying too close to the sun. Maybe I was trying to rise like that lava lamp right there, only to realize once I got to the top, I was going to come crashing down. And I came crashing down just the same. I ended up back in my 750 square foot house with creaky floors and neighbors that I would have to ignore as they would shout at me as I would come in and out of my house. I ended up staring at that That ceiling fan, like a scene in Apocalypse Now. I was back waiting for another mission, staring at the ceiling fan, realizing I was back exactly where I was. But you know what? The good thing was, I flew pretty high. I came crashing down. But I came back down to earth and was able to continue on. I was able to call my friends and get back out there and start playing gigs again, just like a regular average Joe musician. But did all of those rock stars fly too high to the sun and come crashing down? Did John Bonham fly too high to the sun? Perhaps he did. Did Jimi Hendrix fly too high to the sun and come crashing down? Perhaps he did. Did Kurt Cobain fly too high to the sun and come crashing down? Perhaps he did. It's very easy to feel invincible when you hear the roar of the crowd, when your songs are at the top of the charts, when everything and anything that you want, good or bad, is at your command. You can have and do anything, just like Icarus flying into the sun and feeling the greatness of freedom, feeling that he is invincible. He has defeated the king and escaped the labyrinth. And you know what the labyrinth is? The labyrinth is how difficult it is to make it in the music business. Most of us never get to rise out of the labyrinth. We just survive. Some of us thrive, but we just survive down in the labyrinth, searching for a way out. And often what we think is a way out is just another trap, just another thing to make us think that we're flying close to the sun, when in reality, we are headed for a crash just the same. Did Elvis fly too close to the sun? Perhaps he did. Perhaps he did. Is it wrong to feel invincible? Is it wrong to feel invincible and soar out into that open sky and grab everything you can in life and try it? When our fathers told us not to, our fathers told us to be careful. Don't fly too low or you'll drown. Don't fly too high or you'll melt. But it's so easy when we've been trapped in that labyrinth of life. And when we finally break out, we're only human. We feel invincible. We feel like gods. When you're out on that stage and the crowd is going wild, and you hear the roar of the crowd, and you're playing and you're pushing your body. You know each night that you're pushing your body, and whether you're a singer and you're burning out your throat, or whether you're a guitar player and you're playing, you're pushing yourself to the limit. And each night, in order to tread and come down from that stage high, you know, a lot of times you don't want that high to end. You want to keep flying. And that's why musicians get into things that they shouldn't get into. And that's why they continue on that path of chasing that dragon or chasing that flight into the clouds. Because it can become so hard to come down. It's not easy to come down from a roaring crowd of thousands of people screaming and yelling and the titillation of the beauty of women before you. It's easy to feel. It's easy to feel invincible. Feel like nothing can stop you, that you'll never come down, that you'll continue to soar. You get off that stage and you go backstage and you continue to soar. You continue to chase that high. And you chase that high and you chase that high. But one day you realize you've flown too high to the sun. You didn't listen to your father. You didn't heed the warnings. You flew too high. And the wax melted. And your feathers rained down like snow. And you came crashing down into that water. That water that you were trying to stay above the whole time. And you came crashing down. And you drowned in your success. You drowned in your freedom. And just like Icarus, you became a legend, but you were no more.